This poem is, as far as I know, the first poem published by a faculty member at Brookdale from 1960. It was written in 1969. And I know you've probably all read about the 60s, but they're different than they are in the books. People were not stoned all of the time. All right, most of the time, but that wasn't the only thing that was going on. The world was changing. The 50s were almost like Puritan times. There was a guy, there was actually several guys, and in guys, there weren't women that were involved, who sat on a board that looked at every scene in a movie to make sure that nothing that would upset anybody could be shown. Married couples had to be in separate beds, twin beds, and you could have a kiss while sitting on the bed, but somebody's one foot always had to remain on the ground. And then came the 60s and the children of the 60s. And they weren't like anything before them. They didn't care about the rules. They had grown up being told that this is going on your permanent record. Like someday you'd win the lottery and they would be just about to hand it to you, and someone would go, wait a minute, we looked at the permanent record, you cut class 3 times. You can't have the money. And all of a sudden there was a generation that said, I don't care. I'm going to do what it feels right to do. I'm going to do what it feels good to do. And that was a new thing. Because the generation before my generation had been brought up to do the right thing, the expected thing. It's not a real bad philosophy. It's just that it had gotten encrusted over the years. And it needs something to break it apart, something new. And that's what the 60s were, basically. That was when Brookdale was started, 1969. It was revolutionary. This was the best community college in the country. It was at the cutting edge of education. Things were being, and the great thing about it was that even the suits let you alone for a while. Yeah, they screwed us on our salary every chance they got. But in the classroom, you could do anything you wanted to. And you could do it because nobody knew what the hell education was anymore. It used to be, you got these facts, you make people learn these facts, you test them to see if they know these facts, and that's all there was to it. Making people think, giving people an opportunity to grow and find out who they are, and it was unheard of at the time. And Brookdale was one of the places that started that. Now, it wasn't all the summer of love, by any means. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of, revolutions don't come easy. People, young people at least, really expected a revolution. An actual, just like the American Revolution and the French Revolution. Some were hoping for the French Revolution where we would take the rich out and cut their heads off. Other ones were hoping for an American revolution, like the American Revolution, where there was just a tyrannical government and people standing up against it. Whenever there is a revolution, several things happen. One is charismatic leaders emerge almost always from among the young. And the other thing is that people fall in love. And the last thing is that they get swept up in the flow of events. History picks them up and takes them along with it. I wrote this poem when I was sitting on my front porch during a late summer thunderstorm. And what I was looking at was all mixed up in my head with, well, lots of stuff was mixed up in my head, but it was mixed up in my head with that whole idea of revolution and the flow of history and ordinary people who nobody thought was going to be famous all of a sudden becoming leaders. It's called revolution. Big surprise there. Rain leaps in the street like white flames. Drops burst from the macadam crevices like silver mortars. A leaf goes by, running the street water. Only one, with his autumn death already brown upon him. One leaf riding the street water, this one time swept along by events. One small leaf, still wondering why when the wind whispered, he leaped. One insignificant leaf whirled along in a revolution of water, tearing itself on the macadam where the water almost runs out, almost stopped. Time upon time, turning on one point after another, tip and stem and needle point into the main current. One revolutionary leaf, moving mindlessly unaware of his movement in the inevitable current. One other leaf, aground, immune to the water's rush, wearing her shroud of orange like a veil, wondering why, when the wind whispered, she leapt. Until some wind, why does it always happen just this way? Ripples the center flow an inch, and they collide. Hung on the honeyed moment, they enjoy the battle of go and stay, until they twist without breaking into the sweep of water, to rush, headlong under the parked machine. And the water bubbles moon domes like lives beginning and loves flowering and both bursting. And the needles of rain leap out of the water in protest and fall back invisible. While brown and gray-black, the water pours out of the driveway and into the street and under the car. Leafless, until one magnificent leaf, gold in his autumn death, wearing his orange like a cloak of kings, one giant palm-wide leaf, one majestic leaf, moves in the rich brown center current as if the water moves by him. The rain quickens like a drumbeat, and a white shadow of wind blows across. Why does it always happen just this way? Until behind him, the matted leaves, pressed and dead, quicken as the swollen stream reaches out like history to touch them. And they too spin and wheel, and free themselves of rises where the last rain left them, to rush together like a nation of madmen, headlong after the majestic leaf, down the rich brown center current of time, headlong into death. Why does it always happen just this way?